What is going on, everybody? Welcome on into Bleacher Report Live, and we are reacting to a 2-4 start from your Philadelphia Phillies, and I'm pissed. I am so pissed off. I'm not okay with this, and I understand that it's 162 games. I'm aware that it's a long journey, and there's been multiple examples of this current clubhouse starting off super slow and then turning it on, becoming one of the most electric teams in all of baseball towards the fall time. The first time it happened, it took a firing of Joe Girardi. Last year, Rob Thompson was under the helm, and, it just seemed like the team took off, and their win percentage was at an outrageous pace. You can maybe ask the question if that's something that you could sustain multiple years in a row. I think they can, because their offense is a juggernaut when they hit, but it has been a gross start. And the reason why I'm bothered is because they have made it very clear that they needed to do things differently to get off on the right track. And forever, I constantly heard, whether it was the manager, whether it was the president of baseball operations, and to be fair, I love Rob Thompson. And I think Dave Dombrowski is one of the smartest people in all of baseball. You are in great hands when he is the one choosing certain players' roster decisions. Not that he bats 1,000, because Rojas can't bat 0.50, and he's constantly getting plugged in at the back end of your lineup, which is a disgrace, and that's a Dave Dombrowski move. But I like the guys who are in charge. But all they kept talking about was this was going to be different, because there's no World Baseball Classic, and because you're able to get guys in the United States early, and they were active throughout spring training, and they could get comfortable and get on this plan and sort of be on pace and on schedule the Phillies way, instead of having visa issues and getting guys into the country. And now we start off losing 2 straight home series. And let's not pretend like that Braves series was, who cares? The Braves are just better than you. No, that's a sorry-ass excuse. You didn't just lose that series. You were non-competitive. You were getting blown out, embarrassed, to the point where no bodies are taking the ball on the mound. You're down 12 to whatever. You're down 9 to whatever. You're not even in the game. That's totally unacceptable, no matter what time of the year that it is. The reason why it bothers me that people hide behind the fact that it's the first series or the second series. You're telling me if it's game 78, 79, and 80, and you play the Braves then, and the same exact outcome happens, you're allowed to be aggravated then, but you can't be aggravated now. No. All these games matter, and I'm not making this assumption that because they fell in the first series, they can't beat the Braves in the playoffs again. But I can't just have no reaction and no opinion until October. I mean, that's just not how this works. There are some things to be very concerned about. Nick Castellanos, that is a massive concern for me, because he's been here for multiple seasons now, and he looks the same. He strikes out the same way every time. Every time. 3 years into this, he strikes out the same way every time. And now we have to hear from the manager postgame that Nick Castellanos is struggling due to the new wall out in right field. Because if you watch that final game against the Reds, which they dropped, by the way, on a score of 4-1 to drop the series, by the way, to the stupid Cincinnati Reds, that makes me sick. That makes me want to vomit. It's disgusting to lose a series that way at home. I don't want to hear about the weather. I don't want to hear about the wind, because guess what? The Reds were able to rake in the wind. Kyle Schwarber was able to rope one to the right field wall, over the wall. He's able to do it throughout the wind. So the wind's not a problem for anybody else, but it's just a problem for the Fightins. No. That does not sit right with me at all. But now Nick Castellanos is having a struggle out in right field, not knowing how close he is to the wall or not. I mean, that's an issue. So now we're factoring in poor defense from him again. I'm annoyed. Nick Castellanos is a real concern. Trea Turner is starting to become a real concern. I don't think we're going to get an improved defender. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I read a bunch of stories in the offseason about his comfortability with the Phillies organization now, and some of the coaching and the way that they're really going to try to apply new things to his craft on the defensive side of the diamond. This guy's a stiff. I mean, there's just fundamental plays that he screws up nonstop. He'll double clutch. He'll cost himself a half a second trying to turn two. He looks like the Alec Boehm of old, while Boehm's over at third making plays that I could never imagine in a million years him making. So I don't know what Trea Turner needs to do. If he has to sit down with Boehm and say, how'd you do it? Who would have thought that Boehm's the guy now leading the way, or should be leading the way, trying to teach others how to get better, because this guy has totally rejuvenated his entire damn career. I didn't think he could be an everyday third baseman. Now I think he's actually helping you out tremendously, and it's not just getting by defensively at third base. It's this guy's a magician over at third base. That's how much the narrative has changed for me and Boehm on that side of the diamond. When's it going to happen with Trea? The answer is probably never. Never. I don't know. Doesn't look comfortable. Rojas is a concern. Oh, but you don't need your 9-hole hitter. Yeah, you do. You need everybody. You need everybody. You can't have an automatic out. Nick Castellanos is an automatic out right now. Can't have it. But his is more impactful because he's supposed to be a big bat, and his personality is supposed to be large, and that swag is supposed to be a personality trait of the batting order 1 through 9. And when he struggles, it's deflating. You could tell that it rubs off on other people because you're supposed to have like that insane level of cockiness because of Nick. And there's no one else who can really provide that. Bryce does it in his own way, but he's Bryce Harper. And quite frankly, outside of one game where he had 3 home runs, a grand slam, 6 RBI, and got robbed of another extra base hit out in center field. I say that so nonchalantly, as if that's not a massive day at the office. But outside of that, I mean, his first handful of games, he was hitless, him and Rojas, basically providing the same on the offensive side of the plate. He missed time because of the fall over in the foul territory at first base, trying to make a crazy catch by the railing there, which got fixed. Obviously, that was going to get fixed, or else Bryce was going to have some concerns with Mr. Middleton. Yo, John, let me say something. I know you flew out on your private jet to talk to me 5 years ago. It's time to come to my office and let's talk. All right, we got to do something about that. But at the same time, it would be nice for Bryce to know that he's 30-something years old now, and we can't be doing front flips over the railing. This team has me so bothered that I don't even remember English. Let's get to the Bleacher Report chat poll of the show. Is it too early to be concerned with the Phillies' flaws? No, it's not. No, it's not. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. I'm not treating this like a football season because sometimes we do fall into the loophole where we fall into that little well of we react game by game so much. But there's a difference between making long-term claims and just reacting to the piss-poor play. Because I can't just accept this. It's not in my bread and butter where I can just go, who cares? No, I care. It can all change. And I'm letting you know it can, and probably it will change by the end because the track record shows that. You could also wonder, though, how many times can you have that type of epic run in the middle of the season? Guys are getting older. Now it's another year of Trea. He got out of that funk last year, but if it starts the season off poor again and it's bad, can he get out of that funk? You can't go for standing ovation 2.0. That only works once. He's already starting to doubt himself on the defensive side. I could tell by his body language. I could tell by the way he carries himself and his shoulder slumping after his first error of the season. This team doesn't play good defense. This team also has so many problems base running, getting picked off. You're getting picked off. Excuse me, Rojas, you pinch hit for, not pinch hit, but you pinch ran for Kyle Schwarber. You're the guy who's supposed to give us the lead. You're on second base and you get picked off. That's a joke. That's a fireable offense. When you're on this type of leash, you should be on the shortest leash in the history of Major League Baseball because you actually can't do anything offensively. He got his first hit of the season. It was a dribbler, a little dinky little dribbler that he beat out. Whoop-de-damn-do. All right, so he gets on second base because he's pinch running for Schwarbs, gets picked off. Bryson Stott gets picked off. Nick Castellanos gets picked off. Gets picked off. How are you not prepared for the season? It doesn't seem like this entire clubhouse was ready to go day one, but why? Because there was nothing more monitored than starting off better than you did the last two seasons. It was an organizational philosophy to try and improve that area of this team. And they started out dropping both home series before they end up hitting the road here against the Washington Nationals, who I assume they should obliterate. But who am I? Who am I to say that that should be assumed? It's not all negative. It's not all doom and gloom. Zach Wheeler is so good. 90 pitches, 92 I think he finished with, 10 strikeouts. Guy's a machine. Didn't allow any earned runs. The first run around the lineup there against the Atlanta Braves. So that was great. It was glorious. I don't have a problem with Rob Thompson and him pulling Zach Wheeler with 89 pitches, 6 scoreless innings, his first go-around. There's been some issues with Rob, though. He does not have a feel of the game yet. He keeps Strom in against Duvall when you should be going to your righty. He's trying to figure out when to use Hoffman compared to when to use some other guys. Seranthony Dominguez is a big question mark, and that's supposed to be what gets you over the hump here, is that unbelievable depth out of your pen. I was never a believer of what the MLB said and some of the stats said about them being the best bullpen in baseball. I was never going to commit to that, but I believe the bullpen will settle in over time. But Rob is having a difficult time with some of these matchups. That's baseball 101. We're keeping a lefty in there against a right-handed bat when you should go to a righty at the time. Dude, come on, man. How do you not get a feel of that at all? That's pathetic. There was also a time where game 2 against the Braves, you got to Max Fried so early that they ended up pulling him without even getting through any game. Like, seriously, it was after the first inning. He ended up getting yanked. We'll look at the exact amount of pitches he threw in that first inning. But if you go back to the second game where they ended up losing 12-4, so embarrassed, by the way, Max Fried went 2 third innings, allowed 3 earned runs, walked 3 batters, and 43 pitches total. Snitker pulls him from the game. They win a game after that, so they had to go all pen. They win the game, while here's Rob Thompson saying, yo, Nola, I need you to go eat me a bunch of innings, even though you're getting beat up and you're pitching horrendously. 4 1/3 innings pitched, 11 hits, 6 earned runs, a walk batter at 83 pitches. Maybe you can make the argument that Rob Thompson should have did something similar to Snitker, but because he's so worried about some of his bullpen, Gregory Soto threw 1 pitch one night, and he was unavailable to go the following game. He threw 1 pitch, and they were too worried about going back to him. That's already settled into the brain of Rob, to the point where maybe it costed you going to Connor Brogdon. Connor Brogdon, going back to the whole Dave Dombrowski roster decisions, he already got DFA'd. I mean, the kid already got kicked to the curb, no longer a part of this thing, after he gives up a grand salami in extra innings. It was a bad decision at the time. The only reason why you kept him is because you were worried about not having options. But the kid can't pitch. He can't pitch. And he ended up being so desperate that Pinto is in traffic, didn't get to the stadium until the 4th inning, goes out there, gets a save, throws a bunch of innings, does his job, and looks 9 times better than anything Connor Brogdon was. This is blowing my mind that these type of decisions are already coming back to bite you in the ass. Now, I will say, with the Rob thing, Nola compared to Fried, I'm more bothered that Nola didn't pitch well, more so than Rob not pulling Nola. I mean, he went 4 1/3 here, right? It's not as if it was as egregious as, hey, Aaron Nola in the 6th inning walked 3 batters in a row, threw 25 pitches, and then he let him pitch to a 4th batter who ended up hitting a grand slam or something like that. Then it's like, dude, what are you doing? But asking a starting pitcher after maybe 1st, 2nd inning or so, first start of the year to give us another inning, get us a 4th inning where his pitch count was totally at 83, I'm more mad at Nola than I am Rob. But there is an argument to be made that this guy isn't really figuring it out, and on the fly, he's a mess based off of some of the results that we've seen early on here. JT had a hell of a strike him out, throw him out against the Reds. They were just perfectly on the money. He's going to provide that for you. He should have, I think he only has one home run. He should have 2 home runs. The wind stopped it. I saw one of those Twitter accounts that say this home run would have been out in every single ballpark except for CBP, and I believe it was Camden Yards. So he did square it up, and that's a big part of him is rebranding his offensive self and figuring out the leg kick and how he wants to get going with the timing. So we need to be better there with JT, and I've seen some at-bats where it has tickled my fancy more than some at-bats for whatever it's worth. Some other positives, Christopher Sanchez looked like no joke. He got that changeup rocking. He threw a couple of different pitch sequences that threw off the hitter's timing big time, and Turnbull was good his first time around as well. So your 4 and 5 were both absolutely strong. You love that. Bohm strong. Kyle's hitting more singles. Okay, so you got some singles. A lot of broken bats out of him, but he's being active on the base paths. It's not all negative, all right? So we're overreacting negatively. We're overreacting positively as well. Don't get mad at me here. And Brandon Marsh has been awesome. Now, he did have a lefty-lefty against the Reds in the final frame with an opportunity maybe to make this thing a closer ball game. He ended up popping up to the third base side. I like Rob giving him that opportunity, though, to swing it lefty-lefty because, one, it's not as if you have as many great options as you want on your bench. And he's been doing well, man. He's been doing well. He's got an opposite field power shown there. He's got 2 home runs. He's got a couple of lefty-lefty hits. He seems motivated. Seems like there's some passion in there to prove to Rob Thompson that you're wrong to platoon me. Now, I did hear this, and it's very fascinating. I doubt Rob does it because he's a big stick-to-my-guns guy. I already had to hear him say that I believe in this team. You know, and it wasn't even a time where he needed to stress that he believed in this team. We're 6 games in. He was asked by one of the media members, and I'm paraphrasing, but something along the lines of this offense needs to get going. And then he started to go into detail. Yeah, there's no doubt. I believe in this team, though. I believe in all of them, though. It's like, all right, dude, calm down. Calm down. You don't have to go that far. All right, we know you believe in your guys. We know that's your mentality. We know that's how you operate. You don't have to, like, throw it down our throat here. All right, just answer the damn question about maybe where you see some of the hitting mechanics right now, some of the guys in your order. You don't have to put your hands up and go completely back against the wall. I believe in these guys, though. All right, we know that. We know that. Sometimes I think that plays a role in the personality of this team throughout the regular season, why they're so nonchalant, why they're so lackadaisical, why they start the season off 8 games under 500 before rallying and between a couple other stints there. It's like, all right, they go pull back to 500. Hold on a second. Now they're back to 6 games under. Hold on a second. Now they're 2 games up. Hold on a second. Now they're 9 games under. It's like, dude, I can't do this. All right, you're absolutely killing me. But Brandon Marsh, he does seem to have like that killer attitude that I'm not here for this platoon garbage. And the thing I heard was, do you remove Nick in right field, apply Brandon Marsh there, and that's how you get him more nods in the game? And here's the thing. As bad as Nick is, he's 80,000 times the hitter Rojas is. 80,000. Even if he accidentally hits a homer. That accidental homer is 80,000 times more impressive than anything Johan Rojas does. So I would still take Rojas out. And if you're talking about your best potential lineup, your outfielders should be Whit Merrifield, Brandon Marsh, Nick Castellanos. If you're thinking strictly about what outfield lineup would give me the best offensively and defensively, marrying it together, what gives me the best chance, that's what it is. But no, I wouldn't remove Nick, because at that point you're putting a lefty bat in, okay, but I don't want Rojas out there. Then Rojas is out. I don't want Rojas out there. I'll take my chances with the frustrating Nick Castellanos over anything Rojas provides at the plate any single day of the week. So I think that would be foolish. I think that would be foolish. But I heard that thrown around town a little bit, that if you want to try and find more time for Marsh, why don't you sit Castellanos down? But then you're keeping in Rojas? What has Rojas done? What has Rojas done? He shouldn't be here. That's reality of the situation. We'll see what they do coming up here. So they end up playing the Nationals on the road. Then they'll go play the St. Louis Cardinals. They play the Pittsburgh Pirates. But I thought I was going to actually see this team compete for a division for once. And now they're already down large to the Atlanta Braves, who had, a 14-game lead last season in the standings? Something along those lines. Just something to monitor. The Braves are 3-2. And when I looked at their schedule, they play the Diamondbacks. They have the Astros in Houston. They have the Rangers in a 3-game set. They go to Seattle. They play the Guardians, who are 5-2. The Marlins are 0-7. Woof. And they got a few games against those 2 series this month. They see the Mets as well, 0-4. So very beatable teams too. But maybe there's an opportunity with the White Sox on your schedule, the Nationals on your schedule. Come on, do something with it, will you? That's what I would like to see them do, but in reality, they won't because, they're going to start the season off slow again and make me want to rip my hair out because that's part of their brand under this regime of Phillies baseball. All right, everybody, those are my thoughts. I can't thank you all enough for hanging out with me today here on Bleacher Report, and I'll be seeing you in the not-so-distant future. Have a great day, everybody.